Well, it's Monday. It's the last Monday of the month. Well, here she is. Man, she started off March 1 with what? Get mad, make a difference. Mamba. Yeah, she talked about, who was it? Yep, that's who she talked about. Yep. Kobe Bryant, she talked about that. On the 8th, what did she talk about on the 8th? What are you willing to give up to go up? What are you willing to give up to go up? And on the 15th of this month, what did she talk about? I'm not gonna even tell you. Go back and watch it. And last week, what did she talk about? Successful people have vision. They know where they're going. And she highlighted a lot about Dr. Miles Monroe, one of my heroes. And I tell you what, vision, there you go. I can't wait to hear how she's gonna close this month out solid. Without further ado, her husband's on the line waiting with bated breath to hear what his wife's gonna say. Without further ado, 3.0, who else but Miss Natasha Ismail. Good morning, dear.
Good morning, Mr. Thomas. Good morning, everyone. Happy Monday. No pressure, right? He's like, I want to see how she closes out Monday. No pressure, no pressure. But thank you so much, Mr. Thomas, for having me on today and allowing me the honor and privilege to speak to everyone. And, I know that Mr. Thomas doesn't trust everybody with these calls. And if you notice, he only has a select few on here. And for him to ask me to do the calls is like, I remember the first time he asked me, we were still on like freeconferencecalling.com. And I was freaking out. Even though it wasn't Zoom, you couldn't see people's faces and things like that. That's why Julie and I think we're so good at Clubhouse now. But just for someone that's a senior vice president to ask somebody else that's still like up and coming is just amazing. And those of you that actually get to work with Mr. Thomas, you know his heart. And for someone to be at the level that he's at, to want to take everybody with him is not really common. So maybe that's why he's the uncommon mentor, right? So Mr. Thomas, I want to thank you so much for having me on the call today. All right, everyone, Monday, who's excited? All right, I'm pretty sure you guys don't need your cup of coffee today because I will be your cup of coffee or a shot of tequila, whatever one, it's Monday morning. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and play a quick video first. It's about 7 minutes. We're gonna play that video and then I'm gonna come back and I got a couple surprises throughout the call. So Mr. Clemens, if we could roll that clip, please.
You make a choice and say, come hell or high water, I'm going to be this, then you should not be surprised when you are that.
Man, I gave my soul to this game. There's nothing more I could give, nothing. But I'm telling you, it goes by fast. And if you don't give it your all, you're gonna regret it.
I love what I do. And it's as simple as that.
What does love feel like for you?
What does love feel like?
So I think I describe it as a beautiful journey. It has its ups and downs. Things are never perfect, but through love, you continue to persevere. And you move through them, you move through them. Through that storm, beautiful sun emerges. Right? And inevitably another storm comes, and guess what? You ride that one out too. So I think love is a certain determination and persistence to go through the good times and the bad times with the someone or something that you truly love. I had a summer where I played basketball when I was like 10 or 11 years old. And I scored not a free throw, nothing, not a lucky shot, not a breakaway layup, 0 points. And I remember crying about it and being upset about it. And my father just gave me a hug and said, listen, whether you score 0 or score 60, I'm gonna love you no matter what. Now that is the most important thing that you can say to a child. Because from there, I was like, okay, that gives me all the confidence in the world to fail. I have the security there. But to hell with that, I'm scoring 60. There's a choice that we have to make as people, as individuals. If you want to be great at something, it's a choice that you have to make.
We all can be masters at our craft, but you have to make a choice. And what I mean by that is the inherent sacrifices that come along with that.
I had a purpose. I wanted to be one of the best basketball players to ever play. And anything else that was outside of that lane, I didn't have time for. So everything I saw, whether it was TV shows, whether it was books I read, people I talked to, everything was done to try to learn how to become a better basketball player. Everything. So when you have that point of view, then literally the world becomes your library.
The Mamba mentality simply means trying to be the best version of yourself. That's what the mentality means. It means every day, you're trying to become better. And it's a constant quest. It's an infinite quest. I want to be one of the best basketball players who have ever played. Okay, how do I get there? And every decision I made in my life was centered around the process of helping me eventually get there. Like you're always going after it. Always going after it, always going after it. And if there's a challenge that ensues, oh good, I want to see how I stack up to that. So I had that purpose. And once I had that purpose, every decision that I made was centered around that purpose. I think the best way to prove your value is to work, is to learn, is to absorb, to be a sponge. You always want to outwork your potential. As hard as you believe you can work harder than that. So you go after it. What I've learned is to always keep going, always. There's been times, particularly early in my career, where it just feels like this is the end. But what I've come to find out is that, no matter what happens, the storm eventually ends. And when the storm does end, you want to make sure that you're ready. And I gave my soul to this game, man. There's nothing more I could give. Nothing.
You guys know that, if you do the work, you work hard enough, dreams come true. You know that, we all know that. But hopefully what you get is the understanding that those times when you get up early and you work hard, those times when you stay up late and you work hard, those times when you don't feel like working, you're too tired, you don't want to push yourself, but you do it anyway. That is actually the dream. That's the dream. It's not the destination, it's the journey.
Every kid, every person has the ability to put one foot in front of the other, right? So like if you're saying, okay, I'm gonna climb Mount Everest, you're at the bottom of the mountain and you look up and you're going, I'm not gonna climb Mount Everest, right? But if you break it down into sections and you just one foot in front of the other, one step at a time, next thing you know, you're at the top of the mountain. So like as a kid, I said, I wanna be the best ever. Right? And now you go through your life and everything you do is try to be the best ever, be the best ever, be the best ever. And as you get older, you start understanding that those things are very superficial things, right? And everybody has a different opinion about it. No matter what you do, I can win 20 championships. There's always an opinion on who's the best. Everybody has different opinions. And so I started really kind of understanding maybe that's not the important thing. Maybe the important thing is to, how do we as a team grow? How do I help my teammates be better? So that was the first change for me. And then as I got older still, it became more about how are you inspiring others, right, to find themselves. That is the ultimate championship. How do you use your passion and use that to inspire somebody else to create their passion? And then how can they pass that on to the next person? That is true success. The lesson I cherish the most is how important it is to love what you do. Always seek out things you love and always work hard once you find it. You can't stop people from trying to limit your dreams, but you can stop it from becoming a reality. My mind can handle the grind, but my body knows it's time to say goodbye. And that's okay. You asked for my hustle. I gave you my heart. This is what we talk about all the time. You have a bump in the road, you fall, you get back up, and you go after it again, right? That's what we do.
All right. So since today is the last Monday and we call this call Mamba Mentality, I thought it was only right to give tribute and to play that video. So I'm going to go over a couple of things that stood out to me in the video. If there's things that stood out to you, you could go ahead and put them in the chat. But the first thing he said was there's going to be ups and downs. So we know that in entrepreneurship, are there ups and downs? Yes or no? All right. At a job, are there ups and downs? Yes or no? Right, but you get to blame somebody else for them, right? You don't have to take responsibility. But in entrepreneurship, it's up to us. So he said, through love, you can persevere. Through love, you can persevere. And I had a mentor ask me one time, she asked me, what is the strongest, what's the one word? And she gave like a little riddle. And she said, what's the most important word? What's the one thing that you can use to get through everything, every challenge, every obstacle? You can change the world with this. What's that one word? And I took 3 days, and I guessed 3 times, and I got it wrong. I got it wrong. And the last time that I answered, I said love. And she said, that's exactly what it is. He said, with love, you persevere through love, because he loved the game so much that he kept going. He says, you fall down, you get back up. You fall down, you get back up. And that's exactly what entrepreneurship is. We know it's a journey. We know it's a roller coaster. We know that sometimes there's going to be times when people are going to be really mean to you. And you know what? You just got to develop that mentality and that tough skin that it's not even a bump in the road. It's like it's not even a pebble in the road. How many grains of sand or sand or dirt are on asphalt when you're driving a car that don't even make a difference to your car? When you're driving and you go over the sand and dirt, all of that stuff, your car doesn't move, it adjusts. Your tires adjust. But what happens when there's an actual bump? Okay, you feel it a little bit. Those speed bumps, you feel it. And just like that, we have those speed bumps in life. Now, he said when he was younger, how many shots did he make at that game? How many? Put it in the chat. How many shots? Ms. Walker, I see you. 0. He didn't make any shots when he was younger. He left one of the greatest players in basketball of all time. And he said that was his purpose, but he started out making no shots. If he can go from being a kid making no shots to being one of the greatest people in history, because that was his goal, that was his purpose, what can we do? What can you do? What's your purpose? What do you want out of life? A lot of people don't know what they want out of life because we've never taken the time to actually think about it. When we first started this business, how many people got in it for the money? Be honest. Okay, cool. So like some of us are going to be honest. All right, it's okay. So we got in this business to make money, okay? Because you wanted a better life or a better future for yourself and your family. But right after that, you start to find out that this business gives you so much more. It's not just about the money. It's not just about buying the things that you want to buy. It's not just about going the places you want to go. It's about who can you take with you? Who can you help to transform their life? Who can we help to really experience life? Who out there is looking for us, looking for them, looking for us, looking for them right now, wanting a better life? But that's not going to come without ups and downs. And we have to have the strength to be able to go through those ups and downs. He said, everything is a choice. Write that down. Everything is a choice. Every single thing that we do in this business is a choice. You have the choice to text that person. You have the choice to pick up the phone and call that person. You have the choice to smile, to compliment a new person, and to pique their interest and to see if they're looking for a better life. You have the choice to show up on these calls every morning. You have the choice to plug into the leadership. You have the choice to listen to Mr. Al Thomas, who's a senior vice president at the top of the company, that's done that twice over. He's been in this for almost 3 decades now. He is a master and we get to learn from him. But your notes, your notebook is full of uncashed checks. It's a choice. you have the choice to cash those checks. And the way you cash those checks is when you start putting them into action. He said, when you find a purpose, everything around it is going towards your purpose. If it doesn't align with your purpose, it's out. I posted something yesterday on my Instagram and my Facebook. I don't know how many of you read it, but it basically said, if it doesn't align with your purpose, if it doesn't make you better, faster, stronger, doesn't help you mentally, doesn't help you physically or anything like that, it's out. Meaning, if it's anything negative, it's out. You don't need it. You don't have time for it. This year is game on. We're starting the second quarter in just a couple of days. What books are you reading? Are you just reading romance novels? Because those aren't going to get you to the top if you want to go to the top. Are you reading, books about insects and stuff? I mean, it's fine if you want to study it, but just make sure you're balancing it with things that are going to move you towards your business. Are you hanging around with people that are helping you get towards your dream, or people that are trying to tear you down from it and telling you, why are you doing that? You don't need to do that. Why are you doing that thing? Why are you doing that for pennies? Why are you going through all that? You really want to go out? You really want to reach out to people? You really want to come off as like that person? No, that's all in your approach. But what do you want to do? You want to set up your environment for success. We talked about vision last week. What's your vision? A lot of times we don't know our own vision because we've never been taught how to think for ourselves. We've never been asked, what do you want out of life? What's your vision? Before this business, I was never asked by anybody, Tasha, what do you want out of life? Never. And I don't know who else was asked that, but I sure wasn't asked that. My thing was, you're going to school, you're going to get all your degrees, more than freaking thermometers. And I love what Dakota Bragg said the other day, so I'm going to plug this in right here. Degrees are very expensive receipts. He said that, and I was like dying laughing because it's true. I graduated with exercise physiology, but I always wanted to be an entrepreneur. I started this journey when I was in elementary school. I just didn't have the right vehicle until this came along. And now, I mean, you see my cats, they're just sitting on the wall. I'm not using them. I can't go train people in a gym. The gym shut down. All of the people that were trainers or, anything to do with the gym, they basically for the whole year couldn't do anything. Now, just imagine God set me up with this business. If I wouldn't have had this, I would have been screwed. Like, legit. Would not have had anything else to do. So sometimes our greatest disappointments are his biggest appointments. And when you start looking at it that way, your mindset starts to shift. Because then you start to understand that you're not a victim, you're a victor. You have the ability to change that mindset. You have the ability to say, this isn't happening to me, this is happening for me. You're not going to say, I have to go do this. I have to call people. I get to call people. I get to reach out to people to change their life. I get to work from home. I get to be with my dogs all day long. Even though they drive me nuts, I get to be here all day long. I get to take midday walks. Nobody else does that. I can go shopping in the middle of the day when everybody else is working. They're looking at me because I'm the youngest person in there. They're like, what is she doing just shopping? You want to learn? I'll teach you. You want to learn? Let's go. I'll teach you. But like, just think about what we have. But if you don't have that vision, or if you don't set yourself up, you're not going to get there. I asked Mr. Thomas a long time ago, we were sitting at our kitchen table. He was here in Fresno. And I asked him, I said, how did you make things happen with so many distractions going on? There's so much happening all around. And guys, just think about it for a second. There's nobody that I know of on this call that does more or did more than Mr. Thomas has done. When you come from a background of like owning banks or hotels or stuff like that prior to this business, what kind of mentality do you have to have? I can't even think of like managing an Airbnb or something right now. even though we do our businesses and stuff, but my husband's a genius. Okay, for those of you that don't know. But just imagine how many things he had to juggle, and with family life and all of that stuff. So I was just thinking, and I was curious, and I asked him, and he said, anything that doesn't align with where I'm going, it's out. And that's all he said. And I just sat there and I was like, duh. Like, if it doesn't align with your purpose, you're not going to do it. So if you know right now, we just had the international last week, which was amazing. Like, I'm still fired up for it. So if for the next 90 days, you focus, and if just for the next, even 30 days, try 30 days. Okay. You don't have to do the full 90, just do 30 days. If for the next 90 days you focus, and if for the next 90 days you make a pact with yourself and you say, look, I'm going to set up my environment, I'm going to set up my schedule, I'm going to set up my meals, I'm going to set up everything. Just create a system for your life. Because so many of us, this was one of my problems. This is what I found to be one of my problems, that I didn't have a system for my life. I woke up every day like, okay, let's see what we're going to do today. I mean, I had a planner. I like live and die by my planner. But when the empty gaps are there, it's just like, oh, let me go shopping, or let me go do this, let me go do that, whatever. But do you have a system for your life? Create a system of what time you're going to wake up. If you need to meal prep, or if you spend like hours cooking and you say, oh, well, I have to cook, I can't be on the call at 6 o'clock. Really? Like, let's be real. Really? No, you can cook before that, right? So what I do personally is I set my life around these calls. Everybody knows not to call me at 9 o'clock. Everybody knows not to call me at 6 o'clock. Even my mom, if I go the whole day without talking to her and it's like 6 o'clock or something, she'll text me after 7 and say, are you done with your call? Can we talk? Even my mom knows 9 o'clock, 6 o'clock, I'm off limits. And everybody else knows not to contact me before like 10 a.m. because I don't do that. Okay. That's my time. Okay. So do you have a system for your life? If you need to go get groceries, set one day where it takes an hour, 2 hours to go get groceries. Make a list. We talked about having a grocery list, and then having a grocery list for your life. I don't know how many people worked on that, but hopefully some people did. But make a grocery list. Go get groceries. Do your meal prepping. Do all of that. Now, systemizing your life. I don't know why I'm going here, but there's a reason. Somebody needs to hear this. So a system for your life. Do you have a system for your business? Do you know what time you do this business? 9 o'clock? Okay, cool. 6 o'clock? Okay, cool. What about in between that? What time are you most energetic throughout the day? Don't ask me that question because it's all day long, like the Energizer Bunny. But what times do you do this business? What are your times to reach out to people? What are your times to do follow-up? What are your times to do exposures? What are your times to go out and get names and numbers? What are your times to do social media? Do you have everything systematized? Because without a system, we're kind of floating in the water. So start looking at your life as systems. Everything has a system. We know that. So what is your system? Okay. If somebody were to say, hey, I want to do this business with you. Do you know what to do next? Do you know the system? When somebody gets started, do you know the system? Somebody needed to hear that. So that was for somebody. Okay. He said the best way to prove your value is to work. Best way to prove your value is to work. I used to be the person when I first came in, I was like, I'm going to break all the records. I'm going to be SVP in no time. But I still got time to do that part. Okay. Still got time. But I was just that person. Like, I would get so excited and I would just tell everybody everything I was going to do. And then when things wouldn't go my way or I wouldn't hit my goals on time, it would make me feel like crap. Okay. But entrepreneurship, we know that. But the best way to prove your value is to just work. Less announcements, more hustle. But you can't just pray about it. We got to work for it. You gotta hustle for this. In the beginning of this industry, when you first start, you will be grossly underpaid for what you're doing. You're gonna be way underpaid and you're gonna work a lot. But then later on, what's gonna happen? You're gonna work way less and you're gonna get paid way more. What does Mr. Thomas say in the beginning? This business, work, 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 check. And then work, 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 check. Work, work, check, work, work, check. Work, check, 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 work, work, work. Okay? That's how this business goes. Now, the last thing he said, if you look at Mount Everest and you say, I'm going to climb that, he's like, no, you're not. I'm not going to climb that, right? Because one of my other mentors, we're so busy looking at the top of the mountain and we just want to be at the top so bad that we forget what it's about. It's about the climb of the mountain to get to the top. I'm going to come back to that point. So remember that point. He said success is an infinite quest. It's an infinite quest. It's never going to stop. People say, when do you make it? You don't, because you keep going. Because once you get to a certain level, and you can ask Mr. Thomas this, when you get to a certain level, there's another level. When you get to the top of one mountain, then you can see that there's other mountains to climb. Then you go to that one. So you're never done. You keep going. His purpose was to be one of the best players. What's your purpose? What's your goal? What do you want? What do you want people to remember you by? Because when we're gone, the only thing is memories. Memories. There's 2 times you pass away. The first time is physically. The second time is the last time somebody says your name. People of greatness will live on forever. Helen Keller, years, people still talk about her. Martin Luther King, years, people still talk about him. Abraham Lincoln, years. Jim Rohn, years. Zig Ziglar. These types of people that are of greatness live on forever. You just have to decide, because you have the choice, which one you want to be. The last thing he said is the true essence of success is how many others do you inspire? How many others are you going to help? How many people look at you and say, man, I want to do that too? How many people? Because I'll tell you one thing, Mr. Thomas is that person for a lot of people. A lot of people. There's people that he's probably never going to meet that's lives he's changed. Can you imagine that? He's never going to meet them, but he has changed their life and he doesn't even know that. That's what happened in Japan. There were so many people that loved Mr. Thomas, and when he went there, he was just blown away that there were thousands and thousands of people waiting for him to meet him. He had an entourage the whole time he was there. They gave him security guards, they gave him drivers. It was a whole thing. And he didn't even know a lot of them. But they followed him. Now, I want to ask everyone about the international. Okay, so last week we had the international. Now, how many of us had actually been to the in-person ones? Go ahead and raise your hand real quick. Okay, cool. So most of us on this call. Now, during that time, Mr. King, like Fresno team is going to laugh at this because they're totally going to get this and everybody else is going to relate to. So at the international, how many of us, as soon as they made the announcement of the dates, we would look up flights, we'd look up hotels, do all of that stuff, and then see how much it's going to cost. Okay, like IBOs, newer IBOs that were like kids would have no money. Okay, no money to even get started, anything like that. We would do yard sales, we would do bake sales, we would do car washes, we would do anything to help, okay? Once we got that done, day of the flight, okay? We fly out, go to that place, whatever, get our hotel room, 15 people in one hotel room sharing one bathroom, people sleeping on the floor, people sleeping on like window seals or whatever. It was ridiculous. How many of us remember that? Like 15 people in a room in one bathroom. I tell people, yeah, you go to the lobby. You ain't gonna use this bathroom. And once you know, like they can't use the inside bathroom because then nobody could be in that room anymore. You know what I mean? They go to the lobby. Okay, they go use that. No sleep, barely getting any sleep because we're so excited. You stay up all night. The Fresno team, all of the guys, this was like their duty, okay? Because they all love the women so much, they would go and wake up at 3 a.m. if they slept, and they would go to the lines and they would stand in line in the dark, and people would start lining up at 4 a.m. just to get inside. There would be people sleeping, standing up in line. I have pictures of my IVOs standing up and sleeping in line, okay? But how many of us hated that when we were there? How many of us hated like having to share a room with all these people? You don't even know them that well. Some of them snore, some of them fart, like you don't even know, okay? You don't even know. And you have no choice because you're not sharing a room, okay? And you wouldn't sleep. You'd have to, live off of granola bars, top ramen, whatever, because the restaurant food was too expensive, this and that. You go out, you'd all split a pizza. Pizza was like $100, right? But I have a question. How many of us, after 1 year of not having that, miss it? Everybody raise their hand. So tying back to the point that Kobe made, the journey is the destination. Because it's those moments that make up your story. Without a struggle, there is no story. You could write that down. Without a struggle, there is no story. How many of us would read a story where it was like, oh, everything was sunshine and rainbows and unicorns and lollipops? Nobody. I wouldn't pick up that book. The shark in me would be like, put it down. Not reading that book. Those are the memories that we talk about. Now, when we get together, so last week, for example, when we got together at the King's house to watch the Game On event, what are the things that you guys think that we talked about when we were reminiscing about the international? It was all of those things. It was like, guys, remember like last year we were sharing rooms with like 10, 15 people, and you guys would wake up so early to go there so that the girls could get all dolled up and then show up over there, and then they would go home and get ready after that, and they would come back. We'd have our sweaters all like laid out, sweaters, purses, shoes in the bag. Ladies, we wore flats over there, and then you put your heels on as soon as you get into the convention because you want to look cute, you wanted to go with your outfit. You had to sneak snacks in your bag and, buy things from like the dollar store, Walmart, gas station, whatever, because you knew it was like $10 for a bottle of water that you could get for like $1 somewhere else. Those are all the things that we talked about, because those were the same exact things that made those trips worth it. And then how many of us after the fact, you were just so excited and you were just so happy about all of those things that when you look back, those are the exact things that you talk about, is the struggles that you had to go through in order to get to where you are today. Jim Rohn says that it's not what you get, it's who you become. That's the true meaning of success. Now, this next quote that I'm going to give you by Gary Vee, I want everybody to write this down if you choose to, because remember, you have the choice, okay? Gary Vee said the true definition of entrepreneurship is loving the game more than loving what the game can give you. Loving the game more than what the game can give you. And I want everybody to think about Mr. Thomas for a second. That's a true definition of an entrepreneur, because he loves the game more than what the game can give him, because he's been there, done that. So when somebody that has gotten things in the world that nobody else has achieved or done or gotten and still keeps going, that's a true entrepreneur, because you know that he loves the game more than what the game can give him. My husband, for example, he loves the game of flipping gas stations and all of that stuff. He loves the game so much. He doesn't care about the outcome. He just loves the game. Kobe loved the game. Let me ask you this. Do you love the game? Because that's how you find out if you're a true entrepreneur, if you love the game. Like there's some people live by the sword, die by the sword. They're like, we ride together, we die together, bad boys for life, all that stuff. All that comes down to is we love the game. We love the game more than the outcome. You got to love the game. I love the game. I love it. I wake up every morning. My husband's just like, what is wrong with you? I'm like, first of all, that's the wrong thing to ask somebody. Okay. Jim Rohn said so. But it's like, you just got to love the game. When somebody says no to you, do you just like, all right, cool, go to the next one? Like Mr. Thomas last Wednesday, when we saw him making those phone calls, the one thing that stood out to me the most was that emotional mastery. He just kept going, kept going. One person would like say no. Next person was like super nice. Third person, he prayed with them. He cried. And it's like, he loves the game. You got to love this game. This is a game. Everything in life is a game. Nobody's getting out alive. Play the game. You got to love the game. So I have another video that we're going to roll. And then again, I will be right back.
I don't know what to say, really. 3 minutes to the biggest battle of our professional lives. All comes down to today. Either we heal as a team, or we're going to crumble. Inch by inch, play by play, till we're finished. We're in hell right now, gentlemen. Believe me. And we can stay here, get the shit kicked out of us, or we can fight our way back into the light. We can climb out of hell. 1 inch at a time. Now, I can't do it for you. I'm too old. I look around, I see these young faces, and I think, I mean, I made every wrong choice a middle-aged man can make. I pissed away all my money, believe it or not. I chased off anyone who's ever loved me. And lately, I can't even stand the face I see in the mirror. You know, when you get old in life, things get taken from you. I mean, that's part of life. But you only learn that when you start losing stuff. You find out life's this game of inches. So is football. Because in either game, life or football, the margin for error is so small. I mean, 1/2 a step too late or too early, and you don't quite make it. 1/2 second too slow, too fast, you don't quite catch it. The inches we need are everywhere around us. Hell yeah. They're in every break of the game, every minute, every second. On this team, we fight for that inch. On this team, we tear ourselves and everyone else around us to pieces for that inch. We claw with our fingernails for that inch. Because we know when we add up all those inches, that's gonna make the fucking difference between winning and losing. Between living and dying. I'll tell you this, in any fight, it's the guy who's willing to die who's gonna win that inch. And I know if I'm gonna have any life anymore, it's because I'm still willing to fight and die for that inch. Because that's what living is. There's 6 inches in front of your face. Now, I can't make you do it. You gotta look at the guy next to you. Look into his eyes. Now, I think you're gonna see a guy who will go that inch with you. Hell yeah. You're gonna see a guy who will sacrifice himself for this team because he knows when it comes down to it, you're going to do the same for him. That's the team, gentlemen. And either we heal now as a team, or we will die as individuals. That's football, guys. That's all it is. Now, what are you gonna do?
Inch by inch, play by play, till we're finished. Every single person on this call, I don't know about you, but when I saw that, imagine who I thought was Al Pacino in our case. Mr. Thomas. Who were all the players of the game? Every single person on this call. Inch by inch, play by play, till we're done. Till we're done. It's who's willing to fight that's going to make it. It's who's willing to fight for the inches that's going to make it. Together. We're doing this together. All of us are in this together. You have to be willing to take a stand for somebody else's life when they're not willing to stand for their own. But at the same accord, you cannot do that without taking a stand for your own life as well. Life's a game of inches. It starts with 1 inch. It starts with that text message. It starts with that phone call. It starts with a smile. It starts with a hello, how are you? We're working towards getting to a better life for everybody. What does team stand for that Mr. Thomas always says? Together, each achieves more. We're doing this together as a team. Somebody right now that we know is crying to sleep at night. Somebody we know right now is holding their child saying, I don't know how I'm going to buy groceries. I don't know how I'm going to do this, but we're going to do this. Somebody is tired of living paycheck to paycheck. Somebody's tired of living their life based on their boss's rules when their boss doesn't have a boss. They're the boss of their own life. Somebody right now is sick and tired of not having enough money at the end of the month to go take their kids to McDonald's to buy them a freaking Happy Meal. They're tired of letting somebody else control their life. They're not living for what's coming. They're living for the now. They're trying to live paycheck to paycheck. They can't take care of their sick kid. They got to go to work. They can't go to their family member's funeral. They have to go to work. What kind of a life is that? Our whole lives, we've been told who to be, what to do, when to do it, who to do it with. It's time that we start making decisions for ourselves as entrepreneurs. You control your life, nobody else. Stop giving people that power over you. If you were created in his image, there's no mistakes. You're here for a reason. You better know what you stand for. You better know who you are, and you better know where you came from. And if you're working towards getting your crown, it's going to happen here with entrepreneurship. What does this business give us besides the money? Why do people keep going when they get the money? The independence, the community, the love, the friendship, the family, the help, the memories. That's what it's all about. That's what it's all about. What's your vision for your life? And who are you going to help get to their vision? Because in the end, it's not just about the money. It's about where we're going. Inch by inch, play by play, until we're done. This was my last call with you all today. And I love you all so much. And you guys know that. You can reach out to me, social media, whatever. But inch by inch, play by play, until we're done. So with that, Mr. Thomas, I'm going to pass it back to you. Thank you so much.